My name is Alina Lopez, and I'm going to be your host today for this podcast. I used to work here at Citizens Crime Watch a few years ago, and I've been invited to host today's podcast. We have a very special guest with us, and he's been with this organization for countless years. I don't know how many years, but today we have Sergeant Joseph Bermudez with us from Miami-Dade Police Department, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about the basics of crime prevention and a little history of what crime prevention is about and how it ties into Citizens Crime Watch and the Neighborhood Watch. And well, why don't we just have him introduce himself and give us a little history and background of what you've been doing for the past almost 25 years?
20. Oof, you keep aging me here. Thank you. Well, thanks. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me today. As Alina said, my name is Sergeant Joseph Bermudez. I work for the Miami-Dade Police Department in what we call now the Public Information and Education Bureau. Within that, I supervise one section of it, which is the Community and Youth Outreach section, and that's responsible for several community programs, and one of its efforts is crime prevention. So I kind of push a lot of the crime prevention efforts for the department, department-wide, and then partner with a lot of the districts to get a lot of the stuff done. As you said, several years. You were very kind to me here, but several years, yeah. I'm going on about 28 and a half years. I'm almost reaching my 29-year mark with the department. And I've been pretty much working in community programs for the last 20. So it's been a great ride so far. A lot of those years working with Crime Watch, almost just about the same. I think, working with Crime Watch for the last 18, 19 years now. Helping the community and the neighborhoods come together with the police department to try to help and stop crime, do our little bit to help and stop crime. Like I said, I've been in crime prevention for all those years. Throughout the years, we've worked with numerous organizations, one of which I currently am the president of, the Florida Crime Prevention Association. It's the statewide crime prevention association that we work with all the officers, all the crime prevention professionals from around the state. We do a lot of training. We have conferences every year.
You just had one in October, right?
Yes, we did. We pushed through this COVID battle, and we did still have our conference this year.
That's great.
Look, it wasn't what we usually have, but we were proud of it, and we were proud that we had it. And now we're just looking forward to 2021 and trying to come back strong like we've always been. I also am the president of the local association, the Southeast Florida Crime Prevention Association. And I have designations through the state, which you have yourself. We have the Florida Crime Prevention Practitioner, and I have the Florida Crime Prevention through Environmental Design Practitioner. And those are both courses that are offered by the Florida Attorney General's Office. And it's basically to make us, I guess, what you would call crime prevention experts in the field. And the practitioner course, the first one is it's a 3-week course, a total of 120 hours. And the Septet one is about another 68, I think it is, hours that we do, about a week and a half that we do the training.
Can individuals do this, or you have to be associated with law enforcement or work for law enforcement?
The majority of them, of the individuals there, are police department employees, police department or sheriff's office, some type of law enforcement. There are some private organizations. Usually you have to have some sort of affiliation with law enforcement. You're able to maintain it afterwards if you're in the private sector as well. So it's not really exclusive, but they do prefer that you have some sort of affiliation with law enforcement,
so
obviously.
So it's not just anybody off the street.
Right,
can really
exactly.
Come get it. But if they really want to, they can.
I guess they would. Yeah, we don't want to exclude anybody. We'd have to put in for it.
We'd have to find out.
For sure,
well, that's great. So there's a lot of training that goes into and education that goes into crime prevention and crime prevention. So what is Septet exactly again?
Septet is a practice. It's called crime prevention through environmental design, And basically what you're doing is you're using ideals of structure, building design, to actually reduce the possibility of a crime occurring. So we work a lot with architectural design. So we do have several architects that get involved in the program as well. And it's basically trying to do a preemptive build when it comes to a community or a building or something, a school, whatever it is that you're working on, so that you can use different aspects of the design, the property design or the building design, to try to reduce and minimize the potential for a crime to occur.
So it's kind of good to implement that.
Yeah, it's a new strategy. It's been around for a few years, but it definitely is a new strategy that we're using when it comes to fighting crime. Yeah, getting city planners involved and stuff like that. I mean, you go back, when you go back and you look and, you break it down, what is a crime? Crime is basically a breach of a rule or law where, there's a punishment that can be inflicted on it, okay? So when you take that idea and then you look at what crime prevention is really the anticipation, recognition, appraisal of a crime risk so that you can initiate an action or remove to reduce it. That's kind of a really technical term, but basically what you're trying to do is try to look at a situation and see how you can reduce the vulnerabilities that are there so that the crime doesn't have an opportunity to occur. A lot of times one of the things you learn in your basic crime prevention, we talk the crime prevention triangle, which you're aware of that. We do our little crime prevention triangle. Exactly. So, and what is the crime prevention triangle? And it's basically three things that we say have to be present for a crime to occur. One side being the ability. So you have to have the ability to commit a crime, as the physical ability to go out and commit the crime. You have to have the desire. In other words, you want to be able to do it. You see something, you want to steal something, you want to rob someone, you want to break into something. So you have to have that desire. And then lastly is the opportunity. You have to have the opportunity to do it. So as crime prevention practitioners, what we do is we focus on the latter, which is, you can always affect each side of the triangle. Obviously, the ability. How do you affect the ability? You incarcerate someone, but that's not a permanent fixture. People, they do their time and they get out. So the desire, you can't really, it's hard to get into somebody's head and remove that desire to commit a crime. So where can we as practitioners or law enforcement be the most effective is in the opportunity. If we can remove that opportunity for somebody to commit a crime, right there, we've done our job twofold. When you start talking crime prevention, you can refer to a few different people. Thomas DeVille, back circa 1400s, and then there's Henry Fielding, who we say is the father of crime prevention, and he has a quote that always sticks to my mind that I'm particularly fond of, because it kind of explains crime prevention, what it is. And it's his quote is basically, it says this: it's better to keep one man from becoming rogue than bringing 40 men to justice. And think about that.
That's true.
If we can, as a police officer, and most people, what they do is they think of police officers as the guy driving around the street being reactive, and there's two sides to law enforcement. There's reactive and proactive. The reactive is the officer that's driving around, maybe, doing some kind of proactive work, but for the most part, they're answering calls for service. Then there's the crime prevention professionals, which are the proactive side of it. And they're the ones that are out there trying to minimize crime. And how do we do that? We try to prevent it. We try to keep people from becoming victims. And to me, that's always been one of my things why I think I've stuck with this field for so many years, because I would much rather come talk to you and teach you not to be a victim than have to be the guy that comes to your house because you were victimized. So I would rather talk to you about how to make your house a little more secure than have to come write a burglary report.
Right. Right.
I'd rather be the guy that teaches you personal safety when you're out and about than have to be the guy that came to a call because you were assaulted or robbed or some other, violent crime occurred to you. And that's what crime prevention is all about.
Kind of reminds me of my college days.
and that's an area, a lot of kids.
Sir Thomas Peel, not Thomas Peel, the police officer.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my professors would be very upset if they knew that I forgot this. But anyway,
Robert Peel. There we go. Thank you, Sir Robert Peel. Thomas DeVille is one of the
so
exactly.
Sir Robert Peel, 1800s, no, 18 something.
1400s, going back.
No, Robert Peel.
Robert Peel, was the 1800s. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you're talking about the Metropolitan Police Act
and the broken window theory.
Yeah, so we talked. Yeah, that's another.
Broken window theory?
Broken windows theory was it was a popular thought. It was a scientific approach, and basically what it was is, if you look at it, it was something where, as police officers, we wanted to attack quality of life issues, and that's where if you focus, obviously as police, you can focus on violent crimes, or the FBI statistical crimes, murder, rape, robbery, burglary, all the important ones, the part 1 crimes as they call them.
Right.
But the quality of life stuff, the vagrants, the graffiti, things like that, they're considered minor crimes. Or, there's victimless. Sometimes they call victimless crimes as well. But if you concentrate on some of these quality of life crimes, you're able to show the theory they came up with is that there's law and order, and that's where the broken windows theory came up with. And it was James Wilson and George Keeling were two authors of this theory. And what they talk about is basically, the thought is like, you take a building, and if you have a building and then the window breaks, thus the broken window theory. Mm-hmm. Window breaks, and nobody fixes that window. And then, a week or so goes by, and then somebody paints graffiti on it.
Breaks another window. And then there's broken windows, there's graffiti. Now you have vagrants in the area. And now maybe they start selling drugs around there because you see that the property's not being maintained. There's no law and order in that area. So what happens is eventually crime starts moving into that area, where if you go back and you apply that broken window theory, as if you would have fixed the window the first time, if you would have painted over the graffiti when it started, the criminal element's going to say, hey, somebody is responsible for this property, somebody's looking out for this, and this is not somewhere we want to be. When I talk, I'm a big proponent when I talk about crime prevention and all the classes I teach. My number one word is awareness. And let me tell you, crime prevention can be summed up, a lot of it, with the word awareness. If you're aware as an individual, right there you've cut the possibility of being the victim of a crime probably in half. Very true. Yeah.
Same thing with, awareness on a property. If you're aware of how you maintain your property, if you're aware of where you park your car, if you're aware, you can apply it to just pretty much anything. Awareness is such a big factor when it comes to crime prevention.
And I think so many people live aloof to everything. They're not paying attention. They're on their phones. They're not, paying attention. They're not aware of what's going on. And we see, so many victims of identity theft, things, because they're just not paying attention to, one, what maybe professionals like you are telling them, in the sense of maybe identity theft. It won't happen to me, or I'll just click on this link. Our elderly, what are they? They stole my bank account information. No, Mom, don't do that. But I'm glad that you said that about awareness, because I remember when I used to be a crime prevention practitioner here at Citizens Crime Watch, that was one of the things that I would always tell people: be aware of your surroundings, aware of your homes, where you're parking, and it's true. That's a very good statement.
Yeah, no,
awareness.
It's like I said, I can't say it enough. It's you touched on just a few little crimes where it could really take effect. And unfortunately, yeah, we've this world has developed into a world where we or individuals are in their own little world. They don't look at what's happening around them or how things are affected. You know, I always point out these are the best devices that we have. I mean, growing up, I again date myself, you know, to my computer was a big old block on the table.
Not too far behind.
I mean, we all carry computers in our pockets nowadays. But where it's you know, I always say technology is a two-edged sword, where it's such a great thing on one side, on the other side, it's got its harmful effects. So when you look at it, so many people are buried in their phones when they're walking, driving. You can apply it to anything. It's just awareness. I mean, you can actually even sit there and you can Google funny videos of how people are walking, you know, texting, looking at the phone, and they're walking into walls, they're walking into signs, you know, they're walking. I've seen ones where they're walking, they fall in manholes. So look at it, just awareness at physical safety of things that can happen to you when you're walking. Now think about that and apply that awareness to personal safety when you're walking out of your bank because you just withdrew money. When you're it's big now during this holiday season, you know, that you're leaving the mall, you're shopping, you got a handful of bags, and you're, you know, when I talk to ladies, I said, you know, they're digging in their purse for keys, or they're texting while they're walking out, you know, texting their best friend, I just got the best deal at the mall, you know, but you shouldn't be. You should be aware of what's going on. You should be walking out of the mall, looking at where you're going, knowing where you're going.
Knowing where you park. Remember where you park.
Where you park, yeah.
Well-lit areas.
Exactly.
And, you know, this is a good topic to discuss probably in a future podcast. Holiday safety.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Holiday safety. We're
going to put that in there.
Exactly. Yeah. No, we definitely will be addressing a lot of these things. I mean, there's so many avenues, or I say branches we can go on when it comes to crime prevention. So many topics. Lighting. You just mentioned lighting. I mean, we could talk forever on lighting, on how important lighting is. But you know, it all comes back down to, and that's what I want to harp on it. It sounds like I harp on it. It's funny, I can't do it here on a podcast. I mean, I can try to make the sound, but when I teach, I always stomp my foot when I say awareness, because people will remember it. Yeah, you stop. Yeah, you can't hear it and can't see it. But when I teach and when I say the word awareness, I stomp my foot 2 or 3 times. That way, it gets into their mind to say that crazy guy that was talking up there and stomping his foot. What did he say when he stomped his foot? Oh, awareness. And maybe I need to be aware of what's going on around me. And you'd be surprised. I mean, if you just crime prevention itself, if you are aware of what's going on around you, you can just minimize the chances of something happening to you nowadays.
I want to bring in for the next couple of minutes. What role do you play, and what role does crime prevention play in Citizens Crime Watch or Neighborhood Watch? Because not everybody has Citizens Crime Watch. Other municipalities, departments all over the U.S. and international too have what we call Neighborhood Watch. So, I mean, just a little bit briefly, kind of, how does that tie in? What does Neighborhood Watch, how does that tie into crime prevention? Because that's a big... Well, that's a big thing. With
for sure. And, you know, Neighborhood Watch and Citizens Crime Watch of Miami-Dade, which we're here, is an excellent organization. So I get to toot their horn a little bit here and promote them. But, you know, like I said before, I've been working with them. I've been working with Citizens Crime Watch now for almost 18 years. If not maybe more. You know, I said, I'm getting older, so it's hard to count. The years just start melding together. But Neighborhood Watch and Crime Watch and crime prevention, they all kind of go together. Number one, I would say, it's bringing the community, the residents, together with the police. That's the first thing. So the involvement of the neighborhood in helping to police where they live is so important. You know, when you start looking at numbers, you know, of how many residents there are in let's say Dade County. You know, I guess when this next census come out, we'll see where we're at. But we were at like 2.8 million, if not more. We're probably going to be close. In the county? Yeah, just in the county. So, you know, we're probably going to be up there close to the 3 million mark. I wouldn't be surprised. coming around. And then look at how many police officers we have. When you start looking at just Miami-Dade Police Department, sworn police officers, that's officers out on the road patrolling or doing the different bureaus within the department, and some of the municipalities that we have, the sworn officers there, we're severely outnumbered. You'd be lucky if between, local, county, and state officers, you have maybe 10,000 police officers to police 3 million people.
10,000.
If you start, roundabout, but if you look at it, more or less, the county itself, we have maybe about, 3,000-4,000 sworn officers. And you start up, putting the smaller departments in there, it's not a lot. If you really start counting them up, it's not a lot. So we are definitely outnumbered when it comes to how many people per capita per police officer per resident and just in Dade County. So that's why the community is so important. And Neighborhood Watch, Crime Watch helps facilitate this, helps tie in these residents in with the police. Because I can be driving all around the county, but do I really know a person who doesn't belong in the neighborhood? Who knows?
No, right.
The residents know. So it's good to have those residents involved, knowing what's going on in their neighborhood, okay, and being able to contact the police if there's something that's out of sight or doesn't just look right to them. So that's number one. It helps facilitate that. It helps to bring those two groups together, all right? And once they're together, then the ideals of crime prevention can be shared. Because then it goes bringing them together, and now it's the education component. Because now, as police officers, as crime prevention practitioners, crime prevention professionals, police officers, the Neighborhood Watch coordinators that are crime prevention professionals as well, we're able now to impart that knowledge onto the community and the residents. So, I can't just go stand on a corner and start preaching crime prevention.
No, yeah.
But through crime, exactly. There's this crazy guy in the corner talking about lighting. But it's a lot different if I'm going, to a group, a Crime Watch group, and I have, 20, 30 residents out there, and I can talk to them about lighting. I can talk to them about landscaping, different aspects on how to make their houses a little bit safer. Talk to them about personal safety. So, I think those are the two biggest things that Crime Watch or Neighborhood Watch brings to crime prevention is bridging the gap between the two groups, the residents and the police, and facilitating the ability to give the information and educate them on making their world a little bit safer.
And we could discuss Neighborhood Watch in another podcast and the details on how to start one. To kind of wrap it up, is there a phone number or an email or a website that for Miami-Dade Police Public Information Bureau or anything that you would like to give to our listeners and watchers? Yeah,
definitely. You can always go to our website. It's mdpd.com. Once you get on there, you can navigate through the website. There's different sections. There's actually one section for community programs and one section that has crime prevention tips on there as well.
Oh, wow.
We also work with your website here, so you can go to your website, citizenscrimewatch.org.
Yeah.
So you can go on there. My number, I'm always available if somebody needs some sort of presentation or anything like that. You can find me on the website as well, or I'll give you my number here if you want to write it down.
Yes, please.
305-471-1745, and you can contact me, and I'm always willing to come out and talk to any group of individuals and give them whatever information they need. But there's all various types of things out there. The association I have, the Florida Crime Prevention Association, we have a website that you can search on there, as well as on Facebook and Instagram. So there's different stuff on there. We always try to share different stories and things that are going on, because you want to keep current too.
Trends,
current trends and stuff like that. You want to share. So it's there's a vast amount of information. Luckily, like I said, we all carry a computer in our pocket now, so the information is just at our fingertips.
Great. Okay, well, we're going to be wrapping this up. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Sergeant Bermudez, for joining us. And we'll see you the next time.
Thank you. It was
safe,
great to be here.
everybody, and be aware. Stay aware.
Awareness. Stomping my foot right here. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great day.